Hello guys, welcome back to the Intro Master channel. We are back with one more commonly asked intro questions that's related to the immutable classes. The question basically you get will be like, what are the immutable classes? What's the advantages of immutable classes? What if you have some mutable reference in immutable classes or immutable object, and what's that? I'll also explain you with some examples of the same. So yeah, let's get started. Basically, as you know, Java is a object-oriented language, and in that we have two kinds of object. Basically, one are mutable objects, the others are immutable objects. Mutable objects are the basically the objects which we create and then we set some values to it, and after initializing it, we change the values to some other values. But immutable objects are just the opposite of that. That means the immutable objects or the immutable classes are not modifiable. Once we initialize those objects, we cannot change the state of the object, we cannot change the value of the object. So in Java, by default, there are some types and there are some wrapper classes which we have, which are immutable by default. Like we have string, long, int, float, double. Those are basically the by default immutable classes. And how to means we can create our custom immutable objects by ourselves. And to create that, there are basically the three simple steps we need to do. First one is to create a final class. We need to declare the class as final. Second one is to declare all the data members or the variables in the class as final. And the last is we should not create or declare any setters for any data members. So we will have getters but not the setters. So how we can do that programmatically, we will see that, and also with that we'll explain you some of the concepts here too. So as we discussed, what immutable class is. So the first step is like the class should be final. So here it is, we have a final class. Our second rule was like the database or the data variable should be final. So here it is, we have it as final. Here is the constructor we used, and here we have the roll number getter, where we are just getting the number, but there's no setter for the roll number, so that user cannot set it from any other class. So here we have the main method. Let's try and create an object for the student. Student stud equals to, let's say, new student, and to that what we need to pass, we need to pass an integer as roll number. So here it is, we are getting 100, and let's print it again, what we just got. So here let's print the roll number of student. Number is student dot roll number, and just print it. So yeah, it's quite simple. We created an object and we just printing the same thing again here. So yeah, it's fine. But how can we say that the class is immutable then? So let's try and modify the student object. The state of the object, stud dot roll number equal to, say we are trying to modify it. Let's see what happens. Oh, let's see here. So yeah, it says that the final fit student or roll number cannot be assigned. As we have this roll number as final, we cannot assign it to any other value, and we don't have any setter to be, so we cannot call the setter method of particular this roll number and set it with the setter method. So here we say, with our three rules, we created a class which is completely immutable. So let's so there will be a follow-up question you may get, that what if this immutable object have some reference of a class in it which is not immutable, which is mutable class. So here I have created one more class, that is address class, which have two fields, current address, permanent address. Here is a two argument constructor for it, and here are the getters and setters for all the fields. So if you see this class, there are no rules getting followed which we need for immutable class, like the class is not final, the data members are not final. We have the setters for the data members, so this class is mutable class, we can say. And if we are using this class as a member, as a data member of the student class, let's see what happens then. So we will follow the rules of immutable class in this student class, because this is our immutable class. So we have declared the data member as private, sorry, final address. So here also in the constructor we will add that address as address, and then we'll need to assign it here, this dot address equal to address. And again, so let's also create a getter for it. So how we do that? Go to source, generate getter setter, select the field for which you need to get, and just click on OK. So here we get the address. Yeah, so we here have this. So what if we observe this is our immutable class. We don't have any getter, we have this as final. So let's try and create the object here again. So for the student field, again need to pass an address object. So let's say new address, and there are two fields we need to pass here, current address and permanent address. If you see here, current address and permanent address. So these two fields we will pass. Let's say for current address we say Pune, and for the permanent address we say Mumbai. So here our object is created, and let's now print this thing. So here printing, let's say we just print the current address, we just need the current address of the student. So student dot, what we have is get address dot get current address. So yeah, if we run it, it's quite simple. As we see, the roll number is 100, the current address is Pune. So yeah, everything is fine, but still, is it a immutable class or object? No, because what we can do here is, as we have the student object stud dot get address dot set. So once we get this address object, in this address object we have the setters for the current address and permanent address. So what we can do here is set current address to Chennai. And if we do this, now let's try. So yeah, if you see, the value is changed, and so we can say that our class is not immutable anymore. For immutable class, the state of the object should not be changed. What happened here, what we just seen, the current address is changed to Chennai, what we initially set as Pune. And what our definition says, what our immutable class definition says, the immutable class objects which cannot be changed after initialization, values or state of the object is not modifiable. So these two rules are violating here, and so our class is not immutable anymore. To resolve this issue, that's the solution the interviewer is looking from you. To resolve this thing, what we can do is, when we are when we are returning this get address, so where where this get address is, it's in the student class again here. So when we are returning this address, instead of returning the original address object, what we can do is just return a copy of this particular object. So what we need here is current at sorry this dot address, this dot current address, and this dot address dot permanent address. So here what we did is we created a new object again, a dummy object, let's say, and we are returning the same object with these values. So if user wants to use this object to show something, to set the value, to save the value somewhere, to show it in the console or something, user can use that. Let's say if this user uses it as student dot get address dot student dot student dot get address dot get permanent address, we say dot permanent address. So we will just print here out the permanent address. So we just use this here to show the value. Now let's see what happens. We'll just run it as Java application. So yeah, so first of all, our permanent address is same. We haven't changed it. We just shown it through the object. The roll number is 100 as we need. And here, if you see, the current address is Pune again. It's Pune. We changed it to Chennai, but it's still Pune. Why it happened? Because from here we send a new object of address class, and there it got changed, but not into our immutable object. So by this way, you can you can make sure that our class is immutable in any case. So people, again, there are again some follow-up questions to that. What if we add some secondary address here, string second address, and we have some getters and setters for the same and all. So this kind of question again may come to you. For that, what you can use is you can use the copy constructor in this particular address class, and you can just resolve that issue. But this answer which we just discussed is quite okay for the interview perspective. If you want the other approach also, to add the copy constructor in particular address class, let me know in the comment section and we can discuss the same. For this we are good. And yeah, so basically, again, the you can add it here, the advantages of immutable class, like the immutable class, again, as we said, those are not modifiable. We can use those immutable classes as constants. And again, whenever we need to use any particular object class as a key into a hash map, so we need to have that class as immutable. So if we need to use the student as a key in a hash map, it should be immutable. And why is that? Because as you know, in hash maps, we the what to say, that index is calculated with the hash code, and the hash code is got calculated on the key. So by that, if the key changes somehow, we will get a wrong index. If you don't understand this now, we will create a new video for that, and you will get it cleared. For now, we are okay with the immutable classes. And if you have any queries, please post it in the comment section and give a thumbs up to the video if you like it. Thank you.